Hi, good morning. So I promised to make this video and I will keep that promise because every time I see these conversations happen, they are the same things that, keep repeating themselves in like public domain. And we keep like reflogging these issues over and over and over again. So I'm making this video to address a few issues that I feel like women go through in like navigating society, basically navigating the patriarchal society where men are, main beneficiaries of power and privilege, and where women have to find a way to survive within these systems. Yeah. So I'm gonna start with a few definitions. I have my girl bell hooks with me, but I'm gonna get into that later. And yeah, most of the things I'll be sharing here are my ideas that I've gleaned from doing social justice work, from feminism readings and theory that I have engaged with, and basically mixed together with my real life experiences. Absolutely. So let's get to it. First things first, what is feminism? Feminism is the effrontery, well, that's what I think. I think that feminism is the effrontery to insist that women must enjoy their full humanity, have agency, and access to equal opportunities politically, socially, and economically. I've heard people say things like, oh, I believe in women's rights, but I don't believe in feminism. My recommendation is that you shut up. Because many times you separate these things because you want to pick and choose which rights you think women must have access to, and nobody cares about that. So please be gone. In this video, I want to address two main things. I hope it's going to be like a 5-minute video tops because I don't, number one, I don't want to say too much. Number two, I think that if this video is concise enough, it's easier for us to digest, right? So I'm going to go quickly into addressing the patriarchy as a system of society and its beneficiaries without particularly centering men or women who are desperate to benefit from these systems. What I want to do is to isolate the patriarchy as a system that both men and women have a responsibility to dismantle. Obviously, more so on women because we are the ones who are excluded from all the good stuff, right? Yeah. Let's go quickly into the good girl syndrome. The reason I'm making this video. So I call it the good girl syndrome because I noticed that being a pick-me is just an offshoot of the good girl syndrome. So many times women are not trying to get picked, as mates. That's definitely popular. A lot of women want to get picked as mates. A lot of women are worried about meeting men and having relationships with men, especially like heterosexual women, and that influences the way they behave, that influences their choices. But in this case, that's literally like not what I'm trying to address. Look, women are gonna want men forever and ever, and it's not really my job to tell people who to want and who not to want. So yeah, absolutely. So let's go quickly into the good girl syndrome. Let me tell you one thing. There is no way in which you can set yourself apart from other women just so that the patriarchy can favor you. Because the patriarchy in itself is not established to favor women, right? The patriarchy, Bell Hooks was explaining in one of her books, and she mentioned that the patriarchy is established to give men full dominance and power and repress every emotion that women have except fear. So all your emotions are repressed except fear, because fear is the tool of the patriarchy to control. Fear is the tool of the patriarchy to make us, afraid of being accepted, to make us afraid that we are not going to be respected. And that's why comments like the ones that came up on Twitter yesterday comes up. Women are worried that when other women, express their agency, it would have an impact on them. The question is, Does one woman speak for all women? This takes me to race, right? I'm not an expert at race. Obviously, I'm a Nigerian woman who grew up among Black people. Race wasn't a thing until like I started joining the larger society. But one thing I have learned is that nobody asks me if I'm Nigerian or not. Whatever I do, directly or indirectly impacts on their view of all Black people, of which I'm from like a minuscule corner of what Black people represent. This is the exact same thing that happens with women. So a lot of women worry that what other women do will impact on their identity. But I must tell you that you are allowed to be socialized in that way. You are allowed to be bred in the way that you think that, oh, if one woman is bad, then all women are bad. But let me tell you, under the patriarchy, all women are bad. Aristotle, with all the important work that he did, believed that men represented perfection and women represented imperfection, and everything that is wrong with the world is women. So look, the foundations of the patriarchy, the foundations of our socialization is faulty. You cannot then say that, oh, look at me, I'm different. What made you different? Were you born by an angel? You are a woman, either you are modest, either you are, all the things. And you know the funny thing, the reason why most of these things are so relative is because they depend on the whims and caprices of actual, men. It's so terrible that men decide what is modest, what's not modest. Look at FGM, for example. Look at binding feet, for example. Look at labia pulling, for example. All the things that are done to alter and affect our bodies as women are done with men in mind. So we are already suffering from the physical representations of the patriarchy, but we must free ourselves from the psychological sufferings of the patriarchy. Look, it's not easy to unlearn shit that you've done and listened to and lived for years and years and years. But what I know that you can do as a person is pursue superior information. You must first engage your own person, your own self, as a full human being who has agency, who can decide on what and what not to do. Absolutely. Let's look at men, for example. If a man's nude picture pops up online, I don't think that everyone would react to that nude picture and say, oh, this man's photo has fucked up my possibility of becoming, a world leader. Oh my God, naked men have an impact on all men. All men who are this have an impact on all men. No, that's not what society accepts. In fact, in cases where women say things like men are trash, it is violently pushed back against. It is violently rejected by men. So why are we still in this cage of, what one woman does is impactful on what all women will do? I know why. The reason is psychological patriarchy, the psychological effects of patriarchy on us. Look, I don't expect you to automatically change your life in a day, but I'm literally trying to tell us women that it is possible to live a better life than we are living. I know that the Twitter frenzy got into insults and all of that, but look, Twitter is gonna Twitter, right? But the most important thing I want us to take away from this is that the reason you think that women's nakedness have an impact on your life is because you're suffering from the psychological effects of the patriarchy. It means that you have the good girl syndrome, which means you want to prove, I'm not one of them. I'm not one of them. I'm better than them. Look, darling, you are one of us. You are one of them. It doesn't matter what you do. You have been designed to be one of them. I tweeted something yesterday. I was like, if you wrap yourself like a mummy, men are going to objectify you, because the objectification of women is not a function of what men can see. It's a function of what men are born to look like. It's a function of socialization. It's not a matter of looking at a naked woman or not looking at a naked woman. It's the idea that men are trained directly and indirectly to weaponize their attention. They decide who gets it. They decide who doesn't get it. They decide how much of it you get. They decide how much of it you do not get. They decide how you get it and how you do not get it. And what I want us to do is to stop trying to be the good girl within the confines of the patriarchy. What I want you to do is to shatter the structures. Dare to live outside the confines of the patriarchy. Of course, there are prices to pay. But look at me. You need freedom. Look, you do need freedom. I don't know. I'm going to like look at one of the things I prepared for this conversation, well, for this recording, and I'm going to like talk about, whatever you do, it's not going to be good enough for the patriarchy. Whatever you say, it's not going to be good enough for the patriarchy. You know why? Because it's not dependent on a set of rules. It's dependent on the emotions of an inept human being, of an emotionally unintelligent person in many cases. So if somebody who doesn't even know themselves, who doesn't understand their range of emotions, who doesn't know what they like, what they don't like, people who are unable to make decisions without what the boys think, if those people are in charge of what goes and what doesn't go, how then do us women continue to obey these systems? You know, it's interesting to me because if the patriarchy was a rule book that prescribed that you must do this, you must do that, and it did not depend on the whims and caprices of another human being, it would be understandable. Well, the patriarchy is not understandable under any conditions. But I would imagine that if there were like actual rules and regulations that you must follow, and then there were rewards and things like that, I would say, great, let's do that, let's try that. But it's dependent on what a human being who many times is not as wise as you, is not as intelligent as you, not as educated as you think, because of our body part, one body part. It's important for us to actually look at these issues before we just continue to go along. Let's talk quickly about the primary beneficiaries of the patriarchy, aka men. They are trained to think that they're superior, even when they are obviously not. It's interesting to me many times that I see some people, I'm just like, superiority is earned. It's not a function of your genitalia. It's not a function of, it is earned. Even if you rig elections, I believe that it is earned in some way because you worked really hard at it. Obviously, fuck politicians, but you get what I'm saying. It's interesting that a few people are born with superior. They're not born with it. They're taught, actually. They're taught that, when your mother is telling you to make some food, close your legs, sit like a girl, somebody is there slouching on the couch, watching TV, doing all the things that he wants to do, or the things that are convenient, where you have to be responsible. You have to make food for your siblings. You have to do this, do that. And you are stuck in the cycle of responsibilities from childhood. Ask my parents. I was the laziest kid they ever raised in their entire lives. And I do not have any regrets because my life is not about doing chores. Look, we're not going to get into that today because the idea of birthing and raising children is a different topic altogether. We're going to discuss that another time. But for today, let's ask an important question. Does nudity hurt a woman's ability to be intelligent? Of the fact that she thirsts to change the world? The short answer is no. Let me tell you. The long answer is that fuck no. Women are not the same. All women can be intelligent, can be naked, can be happy, can be sad, can be intuitive, can be lazy. Women are not a monolith. Look at that girl who sent out nude pictures and raised about $700,000 for the Australian fires. That is business acumen combined with sensuality. And that is allowed. Women are allowed to be sexual, sensual, intelligent, crazy, loving, kind, whatever. And look, let me tell you a short story. So I was in contact with a senior, I don't want to mention this profession because I don't want to make this an issue. So I encountered with somebody who was a man, obviously, who was high up there, nice man on the surface of it, right? So, conversation goes on and he says to me that, women are born with the gene, with the caring gene or something. And that was why I was kind to him. Remember that this person is a senior person and he's a visitor at my office. So I was being courteous, but he thought that, oh, even the feminists, they must have that gene where they look after men and take care of men. And I'm just like, this is quite disappointing, because you would think that as a senior person, you will have some sense, but unfortunately you don't. Number two, you would think that it would think of the circumstances with, like, for example, we Yoruba people think that age trumps gender. Even though there is a saying that says "Kosike Kerekere," which means that there is no small man. In general terms, and like the way we socialize, if a woman is older, she still holds some power, right? But this person immediately reduces this interaction into a gender issue and quickly reminds me that I was born with the gene to be kind and caring, even though I was a feminist. Also, I don't know why people think that being feminist is the opposite of kindness. Yeah, I might be wicked to you if you're fucking like misogynists. I don't mess around with the patriarchy. But, no, being feminist is not the opposite of kindness. But like, I'm not going to have that conversation with you because, look, Google is very close by. What I'm going to address is that the fact that a woman behaves a certain way does not directly affect or even indirectly affect the entire race of women. Oh, one woman is naked, that means I cannot change the world. I need a race where women are wrapped like mummies and serious in their outlook. No, you don't need that. What you need to do is focus on your lane and do your shit. Be intelligent, be great, be whatever you want to be, and absolutely kill it. But that does not directly mean that every woman is smart, for example. Let's be provocative. It doesn't mean that every woman can be naked. For example, you will never catch me naked in public because why? Let's just say that we will not raise any money for the Australian fires. But that's not the point of this conversation. The important thing is for us to understand that we have agency. We are full human beings. Look, and that's why many times when I engage with like our people on feminism and these issues, I do not engage based on like feminist theories of probably organizing, of leadership, of things like that. I don't. I engage on like factual stuff. I do, because many times feminist theory is good for us to advance the study of feminism, but many times when you engage with people who have not. All right, so I'm speaking about feminism, feminist theory, and how it helps with the advancement of our work as feminists, and also advancement of like understanding of what this phenomenon means, and like basically the advancement of this cause, right? But one thing that I was going to mention is that many times when I engage with people who are not educated, either formally or in the sense of social justice and social issues, I usually would use empirical fact mixed with my life experiences, like obviously all based on feminist theory, and that's literally what I was trying to achieve with that conversation. So I want to wrap this video up because I really don't want to spend like so much time talking about these issues. I hope that I'm able to make more videos in the future, but yeah, let's wrap this up. So let's talk about the weaponization of male attention, which actually is the crux of all of these things. So basically, if you're a certain way, men will like you. If you're not a certain way, men will not like you. One thing I want you to take away from this video is that you must, as women, be intentional about our work as feminists, about the inherent freedoms possible within this framework. I mean personal freedoms, where we are able to live above the approval of men. I already told you earlier, men are not that great. The only thing that sets them apart is the unearned powers and privileges that the patriarchy affords them. And I rarely ever speak to young people because I've got a potty mouth. But one thing I said at the last time I had the opportunity to speak to about 200 secondary school girls was that men are not a prize. Men are not a prize. They are not, something that you must work toward achieving. They are, at best, human beings like you. At worst, human beings that you're better than, to be honest. So understanding that would help us with the idea of, you know, desirability and the weaponizing of male affection, right? Because all you're gonna gain is like relationship, which is I'm not gonna like go into that today. Another video will address that, but I really would love it if we women can absolutely, you know, rise above. But look, this is not a preaching to women. It's not a thing to say that, oh, you're not doing enough, you're not da 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 da. No, because the system of the patriarchy has us all fucked up. So many times we are unable to actually like have independent thoughts that are not rooted in the socialization that we've gotten from like childhood. Obviously, you are not going to like invent a new thought process. You're going to gradually unlearn what you've known and gradually relearn personal freedom, relearn, you know, humanity, relearn agency, relearn that you are beautiful and gorgeous and special, and you can be a thought, and you can be a studious person, you can be a smart and be intelligent, you can be, you know, actually, I shouldn't be using all these like slurs because they're like words created to put women down, but yeah, I feel like women are reclaiming those words, so I'm going to leave it alone. But I think that you can be whoever you want to be. You can raise money with your naked pictures for a worthy cause. You can decide to put on a shirt for whatever reason. You are a full human being whose behavior must not represent the behavior of millions of other people who you are not responsible for, who you do not know. Do not let the patriarchy cripple you with responsibility that isn't yours. How many women are carrying the burden of, how many men, sorry, are carrying the burden of other men? I don't see that. They are donkeys. And let me tell you, this donkey has resigned. Literally. I'm going to end this there. This donkey has resigned. We are no longer slaves to the patriarchy. We are no longer going to worry about if men like us. We're no longer worry about what if they don't take me seriously. You don't need men to take you seriously. You need to run your race and do your shit and kill shit. When women are successful, these same men turn around and change their minds. But the problem is that they want to control the process. You are not going to give them that chance. I'm going to end this here. # this donkey is tired. Thank you.